Hey, you clicked on episode 10 of the Moving Forward podcast. Welcome. This is Rabi speaking, and I am your host. With me is my co-host, Andy Lamrock. Hello, Andy.
Hey, Rabi, how are you? What have you been up to this week?
I'd love to say something exciting, but really now that we have more cases of the virus being diagnosed in Victoria, the lockdown measures might increase. It continues to be an opportunity to really keep in touch with your family and friends online and try to have insightful, maybe deep conversations with them. Usually the kind of conversations you would have face to face. But I've been, taking it as an opportunity just to reflect on myself and what I need to do to better my own existence and to have stronger relationships with the people that I enjoy their company.
Which we all seem to be doing again, which is nice. So I think last week we said, episode 9 still in lockdown.
Yeah.
But we're certainly seeing a little bit movement around. Obviously, we've got a few concerns here in Victoria, but
yeah.
Hey, it's been a good week of socialising and some interesting news. Hey, I'm an Apple fan.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen what's happened there?
Oh yeah. I've noticed Apple's WWDC or Worldwide Developers Conference took place just this week. It was quite an exciting announcements. I do feel like a lot of it was just copying from Android, but hey, that's just my opinion.
So I saw plenty of memes and giffies associated with that, but I think there's a lot more. You have to go under the hood to really understand what's happening.
And to go under the hood, if I might put some structure to our conversation, on Monday the 22nd of June this week, Apple's WWDC took place, announcing updates coming to iOS, macOS, and the other software they build, with the public beta expected sometimes in July. I did hear news that it's available right now, so if you're interested in that, pick it up. Some of the stuff that were really interesting to me were their main release was a new home screen page. They call it App Library. It will show up after you swipe past your final page of apps. It automatically categorizes and sorts all your apps, putting them in groups such as suggestions, recently added, social, etc. I feel like it's just an organizational addition for people who don't want to worry about doing it themselves. One of the other features that was, I believe, something that they copied from Android is the picture-in-picture. I've used this on my Android many times. I believe for YouTube, you need a premium subscription in order to use it on Android. But basically, it means your video can play in a small box which you can drag around the screen while you use other applications. Other features that were quite interesting is and I think this, you use this a lot, automatic device switching for AirPods. AirPods can now automatically switch between multiple devices, play a video on your iPad, and you'll hear that audio from your AirPods. If a call comes in on your iPhone, AirPods automatically switch over accordingly. I feel like that's something that you will benefit from greatly, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I love the Apple ecosystem, from my MacBook to iPad to iPhone. And I think some of the cool things that sits all behind this is we're seeing obviously, with the update of the OS happening, Big Sur, etc., is starting to look more like a iPhone, iPad type environment. They're going to their own chips, have been doing for iPad for a little bit now, but moving to that ARM architecture, which is really cool. And so I think we're seeing an ecosystem now creating a seamless transition between devices. And as the world works from home and entertainment from home, or work from anywhere, entertain from anywhere, these devices are really the centerpiece of all of those experiences, be it personal or business. And so, the simple thing of being able to just wear your earpods and go from device to device depending on the need is pretty cool. They're also I see they're also sneaking in some extra features to bring Dolby Atmos to the AirPods as well, which is super cool. So I think they're taking us to a place which is really interesting.
Yeah, and I love the way how they're just trying to enhance their not only their products, but they're trying to bring it all into one ecosystem. So if you have an iPhone, now you're tempted to have a MacBook because it just works seamlessly together. Some of the things that you and I might be very interested in, since we do work in the cybersecurity field, are the privacy updates that they had. This is awesome. So they have approximate location that has been added, which means that you can now grant an app access to your approximate location rather than the pinpoint precision spot. I love this. I think this should come to Android quickly. It's very important. In addition, they had a mic and camera indicator, so iOS will now show an on-screen indicator when an app is accessing your microphone or camera. Would be exciting to know whether or not you can block that access when they give you the indication, or if you had like a hardware light that can show up. But very welcome introductions to their ecosystem. I love it. I think it's very important. They did not say when iOS 14, which will have all these features, will be launched, but though it is expected to be sometimes mid-September based on previous years. So based on your experience with mobile phone security, what do you think of the updates they have?
Look, I think they're really good. I think they're going beyond just calling it mobile phone security here. I think they're making these devices relevant to what I would call a proliferation of the value of IoT. So, being able to use approximate location and give privileged access to something, an app, in their case, I would imagine their car key solution that they're talking about. So open your car without the key, which is pretty cool. Then take that access away because you're not in that location means that we don't need to have all these people. So can you imagine, your wife is down at the corner store, she's lost the keys in the store somewhere, and you can grant access to the car just through, her iPhone and things like that. That's super cool. Otherwise, we'd have to call a technician, have to come and get the car manufacturer out to open it, whatever it might be. So if you think about like supply chain and those sorts of things, who use privileged access management to grant, a level administration access for a short period of time, I actually see this as being a practical application of that. So I think it's pretty cool. In terms of the mic and camera indicator, kudos to them. They're really letting people know what's happening on their devices. They're not trying to hide anything. We always accept, the notification says, I need to access your photo library, your microphone, your camera, etc. And now you know when that's actually happening. It's a transparent view into
Exactly.
the ecosystem you're using. It's great.
Yeah, the visibility part of it and the transparency part of it is really what I really like about it. And Apple is known for that, except for when they were throttling. And I don't think they did it on purpose, but I don't know if you remember, just a few years ago, they had, because people were suspecting this, what Apple was doing is on older phones they were throttling the CPU. So making it slower, so the batteries that are decaying with time can survive longer. And they weren't telling people about it. But they released a blog. They announced something about it once a lot of people got attention to it, and now you have an option to, disable the CPU throttling. You are risking less battery life on your phone, but at least they're giving you an option. So kudos to them that with transparency they have a good track record. And they fixed it when they had issues with that, so it's great for them to be doing that. On other news, we've noticed a lot of industries suffering a lot from the pandemic, trying to figure out other solutions in order to keep going with COVID. The airline industries might be the biggest, the industries that suffered the most with their business almost completely stopping. But a lot of companies are trying to figure out innovative solutions to put it, whether it's different seating, to fix it, whether it's different seating positions or so on. Tegu, I'm not sure how to spell the name. It's a Seattle-based design firm. Plans to reusing existing high-efficiency particle filters onboard most aircrafts. So this is already technology that's used by a lot of aircrafts, and the goal is to redirect air downward at high pressure so it never circulates to your neighbors, keeping even the person in the middle seat safe. So they have measures for even the most extreme cases, like if someone is coughing or sneezing without a mask towards you, which is probably now with the sensitivity that we have for this, it's probably not going to happen. But they have measures against that. So it's pretty much what they call, I believe they called it AirShield. And they had a blog post about it. And I'll show a couple of pictures that they posted showing how it works. They said, based on our existing knowledge, there are two transmission processes for the virus, either as an airborne particle or from viral particles that have settled on surfaces. By creating our own computational fluid dynamics model, that's CFD is what they call it, we were able to stimulate the airflow in the cabin and trace the water vapor droplets from an unguarded sneeze. While it is admittedly unlikely that someone would behave in such a way, especially now, it's essential to plan for worst case scenario. So it's pretty much an air shield, and hopefully it's not going to be very cold for us.
So why don't we just open the windows?
Yeah, that's not going to work.
So hang on a tick. So I'm going to sit in a seat and I'm going to have this. Did you call it like high pressure air being blown down on me?
Yeah, wow. That's what they said.
So better rug up.
Well,
could be cold.
They call them. That's the problem. Yeah, like that's what I was thinking, and they call them air blades. So I think what they will be is they will be very high pressure air being directed around you. I don't think directly at you, to protect other people around you from you if you sneeze or breathe or something differently. So I think, look, it's using technology that's already in aircrafts, and it's innovative, and I think it could work as long as the air is not annoying to the passengers, which I think it would be. But from an innovation point of view, I think it's a great idea. They should figure out a way to make it customer friendly.
I think Rob, it's great to see another company in these whilst we're in mass disruption, adapting and responding to a situation. Right? I think we would hope that we'll all get back on planes and start flying again. Probably not to the level that we're used to in the immediate future, but to be able to fly safe. And COVID's only, one sort of disease that this sort of air curtain type technology would protect us again. We all carry viruses and bacteria and flus and all those sorts of things. So it could have some really good health benefits in a more broader sense as well. I mean, I've seen the air curtains working in retail shops to keep flies out and things like and it works. It really does. So retrofitting something that's already there is a really good way to take advantage of existing infrastructure and making it better. It's awesome.
And from what you said, the air curtains that you saw, they had something about that in their blog post. They said similar to the warm air curtain you will have experienced when walking through a doorway of any retail outlet during winter months. This laminar profile of airflow creates a barrier around each seat, as we can see from the picture that's overlaying, that disrupts the normal circulation of air. So say when a passenger breathes, coughs, or even sneezes, the water vapor is contained within that passenger space and is immediately redirected downward and out of the cabin to the filtration units before it has the opportunity to enter the personal space of a neighboring passenger. So it is very similar, as you said, to the air curtains. It's just, I don't know how annoying it might be, but I think, judging by the fact that we have pandemics, I'd rather be annoyed than not be allowed to travel at all.
Oh, most definitely. And, another great example of organizations responding in a time of crisis to come up with solutions to new problems. and also solving probably a problem we've known about for a long time. You know, can't imagine sitting on planes is all the healthiest thing to do in the world, right? There's just so many people in close proximity, coming from so many diverse environments, congregating in one location. You know, it's a disaster or pandemic waiting to happen. So kudos.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely kudos to these guys. It's fantastic.
So from Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference to making flying safe again with air curtains, that's the end of episode 10 of the Moving Forward podcast. Thank you for listening and have a great day.
Don't forget to smile. Thanks, Rabi. Good to catch up.